Okay, so now that we have created our money site, our website, and we've done all the on-page optimization, the keyword in the URL if possible, the title tag, H1, H2 header, keyword density, things like that. All the on-page is on point. The next step is to start building some trust and power in that order to our money site, to our main site. So in our example, the main site that we are looking to rank is acorntreeservicepros.com, and we want to rank that site for the keyword, our main keyword being tree service Akron, Ohio. Okay. One of the first things we do after the website is up and the on-page optimization is complete is we start building trust. Now, before I go into detail of that, let's just forget about ranking a website and SEO and things like that, and just let's think naturally, right? Let's say that you are starting a company, a tree service company, and you are naming the company Akron Tree Service Pros. What's the first thing that you would do once you have your company set up? And obviously, you put a website, and then you will obviously go and create your Facebook page and LinkedIn and Twitter and maybe put an ad in some newspaper. You want to get your name out, your brand out, so people get to know you and you get customers, right? And so that's what we're going to start doing, but we're going to do it in a specific way or method, in a specific order, so that we can, in Google's eyes, build some trust and power. And Google says, hey, okay, this guy has to be, it's a no-brainer that this guy is an authority in tree service in Akron, Ohio, and we have to show, rank him number one because he's optimized all over the place for these specific keywords. So what we're going to start first is we're going to start building trust. How do we build trust? We're going to go ahead and create all the social profiles we can. A Google Plus account if you want to. That's a whole separate video module on Google My Business page. We'll cover that later. But then you'll go ahead and create a Facebook page, an Instagram account, Pinterest account, Twitter. There are about 50 to 100 different social profiles you can create, and I'll put a link to the top ones that I do. Then we go and create citations. These are like directory listings. These are where like Yelp.com, Yellowpages.com, Manta.com, where we put our information so people get the idea is so the brand starts kind of there's more brand awareness being built. And then we can do some press release. Press release is just, putting an article about our new company, the website, and doing different press releases in newspaper websites. And these are mentions in newspaper websites, really. That's what we do to build trust. Um, just a quick, if you don't know what citations are, like I said, when your business gets picked up or cited by various other websites, like if you think about it naturally and your word is getting out about your company and your brand, people start writing about you, blogs start, mentioning your name and things like that, and that's how you become picked up. And we want to kind of simulate that, kind of making it look as natural as possible. So we want to make sure your website starts picking up backlinks naturally, but we don't want to wait 2, 3 years for that to happen because the lead gen site, we want to get it ranked as fast as we can, but not be safe at the same time and be able to get to the top of Google and get some calls going. So we will go out and build citations. We will go out and put a Yelp page for free. We'll go out and create a white or yellow pages for free, a Manta. So many of these. There are about up to 300 different citations that you can create, and there are so many gigs out there in Fiverr and Upwork and so many different places you can go and create those. But what I do is when I do those, I do it in a specific way, and we'll go into that. Okay. One of the first things I do is I make sure I have the NAP, the name, address, phone number of my website, my company, my lead gen site. Um, I make sure that I have this in every citation and social profile if it's possible. Now, not every citation will accept all the name, address, and the phone number, but most do. And so we want to make sure we do that. And we make sure we want to spell out the name and address and phone number consistently across all websites, citations, social profiles. Especially the address, when we do that, we want to make sure that we have it the right way that Google wants us to. So let me just show you what I mean by that. Okay, so here I am, and let's say the my address in Akron, Ohio is 123 ABC Street, Akron, Ohio. Let's actually, if I maybe pick up a real address, that might make sense. So let's just take 123, was it S Forge Street? S Forge Street, Akron, Ohio. Now, when you put your address for the lead gen site in Google, Google gives it back to you in the right format according to them. In their database is 123 space capital S space Forge space ST. It is not street spelled out fully as an STREET. It is ST. So you always want to put your address in Google and then take the exact address that they show you and make sure that this is what is in your Google property. The most important Google property for you would be a Google My Business page. And whatever address, the way it's shown, it comes up in your Google My Business page. That is exactly the way you want to put the address in your website, in your all your citations, social profiles, press release, Web 2.0s, PBNs, wherever you're using your address, you want to make sure it is in this format. So keep in mind, you always want to check with Google, get the right format, and make sure that's consistent across all citations. So you want to make sure every citation that you create has a NAP, name, address, phone number, consistent, and the way that Google wants you to do it. The next thing that I do, and I've seen a lot of benefit and movement, if you will, in the SERPs when I've done this. This is one of my secret sauce, if you will, is basically I have the correct NAP wherever possible. I link to the money site. I always use the URL anchor or a brand anchor. So I use this website domain URL as an anchor text to link back to my site. Or worst case, I use the brand name, the name of the company, Akron Tree Service Pros, to link back, nothing else. But then what I also do is I always try to have the main keyword that I'm looking to rank or its variation, whichever is possible, in the Yelp, in the citation, and the social profile that I'm creating. So example, Yelp.com tree service Akron. Okay. Now, some citations may not be long, may not have a URL, allow you to have a URL that's long enough to have your entire keyword. If that's the case, you can just stop with tree service Akron instead of Ohio. Or even if you just say tree service, that's okay. At least the niche, at least the service, tree service, or at least the location, at least one of the two, you want to make sure it comes in the URL of the citation and the social profile you create. So let's take an example. Okay, so when I went ahead and searched for tree service in Yellow Pages, right, and this is in a different city, but I see that, he is coming up with tree service in Holland. So most likely, this is pretty okay because he has the tree service in the URL and the city also. But there was an example where I took up this person here. Um, I when I searched for tree service in Toledo, this came up. But if you see here, it says long. There's no mention of tree service at all. And you might think it's a small thing. Hey, he's got Toledo. Yep, he's got the city. But what I do is I will be covering it later on. But basically, when I have the URL in the citations, that is giving some relevancy to my website as far as the keyword goes, and then I power up the citation with some PBN links, sometimes with some Google Stacks, but mostly with PBN links, and that actually gets significant movement in the maps. I've always seen that happens whenever I'm unable to get a website in the maps in the 3-pack. I go ahead, I make sure the citations have the keyword in them in the URL, then I power them up with PBNs, and voila, almost always they hit the map pack.